Viewer beware, you're in for spoilers if you continue this scare.
Hey everybody, Bumps in the Night here again. Today we're talking about the 8th episode in the new Goosebumps series. This episode's title was called You Cant Scare Me. You're here today for Goosebumps, so that's what we're going to talk about. Voice may be a bit off. I have been on multiple vacations. I spent pretty much the second half of October just traveling, and I got sick twice. And after I finally got better, I got sick again, so I've just been through it all. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the episode. The episode picks up right where Give Yourself Goosebumps left off. We had a small recap, and then it shows the main group of our characters, the kids, are all trapped in the scrapbook still. We get a nice little scrimmage between Mr. Brett and Harold, and then we see Nora, they reach her cabin. Now, although it didn't feel like a lot happened in this episode, it really did. So, again, if you guys aren't a fan of this stuff by now, I mean, you're 8 episodes in, you're not going to love it by 10. The pacing is slow. It's a slow burn. It's built to build up drama and tension. That's what they're going for. They're trying to give those kids who grew up with the 2015 movie something to enjoy. But aside from that, we see the kids drop down in the last episode. They just kind of fell through the floor. Well, I thought they were getting out of the book. Like, oh, the book's wet. Doesn't matter. We're all out. But that wasn't the actual case. What happened was they dropped to another page. And when they landed in this classroom, the kids were confronted by Harold's parents, the ones that Harold turned into puppets using Slappy's spell in episode Night of the Living Dummy. So they gave them a keyword to use. They kept calling him Hair Bear. That was his nickname from his parents. So they said, call him Hair Bear and tell him they love him. So anyway, you kind of can guess where it's going to go from there because they've given them the key, the love, if you will. So Mr. Brett finishes fighting off Harold. He draws a really poorly drawn door on the scrapbook. The kids escape. They all wake up. They're in the Biddle house. So now they're racing over to Lucas's family's cabin where Nora's at. Nora reaches the cabin. A snowstorm's coming in. You have this really long, drawn-out scene with a cop where he's warning her that, hey, the roads are going to be closed soon, which... it felt like it was trying to be funny, but it almost felt forced. The cop sees Slappy's head, gets kind of worried. She dumps him on the floor to prove that he's just a puppet. And we finally get a good look at Slappy after he's been dismembered. And he's wood, as expected. Slappy's alive. He never went back to sleep after Harold lost him. Parents tearing him apart didn't change anything because he starts talking to Nora once the cop left, and he makes this joke about, oh, I never thought he'd leave. She packs him up in a duffel bag. As she's leaving the cabin, Mr. Brett finally arrives. And it's actually Harold. He waves at her, and then we have this long, drawn-out chase. The kids are now in James's Jeep, and they're heading up towards the mountain. They see Mr. Brett's Thunderbird is left by the snow, and so they follow his footsteps up the mountain. So we have this, multiple chase going on. Nora's running with Slappy. Brett's chasing her, who's actually Harold. And then Lucas, Margot, and Isaiah are chasing them. James and Isabella were left at his Jeep. During the setup to the chase scene, there was some awkward tension. They're purposely pushing the love triangle, which is almost like a love square at this point, considering that I think Isabella is showing feelings for Isaiah, and Isaiah likes Margot, but Margot likes Lucas. It's really weird. Again, the forced romance doesn't really feel necessary, but they're trying to develop the characters. I guess I get it. Don't like it, but I understand from a writer's perspective. James and Isabella are waiting for everyone to come back. Nora's knocked down by Harold. He gets Slappy from her. Meanwhile, this is happening. Isaiah falls off a cliff. And, you feel like, oh, this is peril, but at the end of the day, it's really not. I guess I couldn't get so involved that I felt concerned for Isaiah. I knew he wasn't going to fall off that cliff. I mean, I just don't see them killing a main character that late in the game. It'd be cool. And it'd be a nice twist, but they won't do it. Isaiah's clinging for life. Nora's knocked out. Harold's got Slappy. The other parents, the ones who helped kill Harold, unfortunately, all arrive, meet up with James and Isabella. They kind of swap war stories. We know that you know that I know that you know that you're murderers. And everyone now is up the mountain. So we've got all these people just trekking this treacherous weather to get to Slappy. Then we cut back to Isaiah. He's pulling himself up because no one's going to help him because Margot didn't hear him fall off the cliff, which you think as close as they are, as much as she cared, she would have double backed and made sure, but whatever. As he's pulling up, we get a jump scene where Slappy is peering over the cliff for him, and oh no, Harold's going to take a rock and knock him down, and then he says, oh, it's ironic, your dad, it's the last thing I saw before I died, and now I'm the last thing you're going to see before you die. And they're oh wow, maybe we are going to get dark here. But then the parents pull up with the second group. Nora's been found by her son Lucas, Margot, and then the other parents pull up. So now everyone's kind of confronting Harold / Mr. Brett and Slappy. And they're oh, you're not a bad person, you don't mean this. And remember, Harold had feelings for Margot's mom. So like she kind of makes a connection with him. Then Margot drops the Hair Bear phrase, and he just kind of, we have some really cheesy effects where you can see the struggle. The whole old Mr. Brett is still there, and he's losing control of his host. They convince him that he wasn't the one that hurt his parents, Slappy was. So he then turns around, he pulls Isaiah up off the cliff. He picks up Slappy, yeets him off the cliff, which I was not expecting. That was a decent twist. And turns around and vomits up Harold's ghost. Harold loses the Freddy Krueger look and goes back to how he was before he was evil, I guess. Makes partners with the group he's been harassing, and then finds his parents like right over here at the edge of the woods, and they fade away. So from what I can tell, the Biddle story is now over, and it's just Slappy. Then everyone's like, oh, we're all safe, we're all happy, we're going home. They trek down the mountain. Episode ends. It does show a cutscene of Slappy in the snow, like, and his eye opens. So he's not dead. The next episode's called Night of Living Dummy 2, so I guess in this one he's just running the show. They even do like a next time on Goosebumps, and they do a little cutscene, which I don't think they've done yet, so I thought that was interesting, but it shows that everyone's kind of moving on with their lives, and somebody finds Slappy in the snow because he says, oh, what took you so long? So there's an unknown player still at hands here, and if I had to guess, it's probably either whatever was in that coffin, or maybe the person who made him. Could be another dummy. Because it didn't really seem like Slappy could move too much on his own. I mean, the bag wriggled, but we've yet to see him get up and walk and stalk on his own. So who knows what's coming? There's only 2 episodes left, though, so kind of looking forward to the next one. The first Night of Living Dummy episode was really good, and I have a feeling this next one will be even better. So if you guys did hang on, we're almost there. Overall, in my opinion, this was better than the last episode. The last one was just so much exposition. It made it so slow and kind of like nothing was happening. I'm at that point where I want to see action. So with this one, there was more action, and I did enjoy that. But, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite episode. If I had to rate it, I'd give it probably like a 7 out of 10. It was okay. Personally, I see what they're doing, but like I said, I don't think this is for everybody. So if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to begin to enjoy it. You can either just tough it out and finish it, or you can just wait for us to spoil it for you. So yeah, like I said, we're almost at 1,000 subs. If you haven't already subbed, do so now, because once I hit 1,000, I'll be working on that video to start the contest. That 1,000 sub special video explained how you can win some of the books I showed in the last video. If you're not sure about that, go back and watch. The Goosebumps A number 6, but the review before that. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good Halloween. I did. I traveled all day. I'm pretty burnt out. Spooky season ended pretty cool. And yeah, I'm ready to kind of just kick it and go into the next year and see how things go. So, other big announcement besides this. So after 3 years of just on and off writing and essentially taking my hiatuses and, not making it my full-time thing, but just doing it in my free time, I finally finished Goosebumps Beyond number 2. So this story is called Keep Out of the Attic. It's 23 pages long. It's my longest short story yet, and it is a sequel to Stay Out of the Basement. So if you haven't watched Return to Dead House, maybe go check that out. And when I find some time here, I'll be reading and doing all the sound and editing and essentially creating the story that is Keep Out of the Attic. So that's really the big news for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, it's okay. The show's almost over. So we'll see you in the next one.